Angie Parr, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No, thank you. It's such a privilege to sit down with you. And obviously, you've been in the martial arts scene for a long time. But could you share us a little bit about your martial arts background, specifically Muay Thai? But how did you get into martial arts?
I started martial arts when I was 17 years old in a self-defense program at the college near my hometown. And then I noticed my trainer training advanced students like fighting. And then he would show like videos of how a kick works or how a combination works. And I was like, I want to do that. How do I do that? And like one day I was like pouting in the corner and he's like, what's wrong with you? I said, I want to be over there with the fighters. And he invited me to go with the fighters and like I never looked back.
Wow. And this was back in the States, yeah?
Yeah, I was 17 years old.
17. So have you trained with different Muay Thai specialists, or did you stick with the same coach?
No, I started out with an American kickboxing coach who was the guy who did the training in the university or the college, the university. And
Yeah.
then I moved to Las Vegas to further my career and fight professionally. And I talked to my trainer, Master Toddy, and I said, I want to fight every month. I want to be a fighter. I want to live here. I want to um, eat, sleep, and breathe Muay Thai. And he said, yeah, that's perfect. I'm building a camp. And I moved there and I lived there for a couple years.
Wow. So what made you decide to fight professionally?
Well, I started self-defense when I was in high school in my senior year. And then I just like knew which path to go. I wanted to be a state champion. I wanted to be a United States champion. I moved to Las Vegas. I went to the Worlds from Las Vegas. And I just, I just like immediately, I think it was like 4 months. I had my first fight after I started.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And so your preparation and your fight camp, obviously moving into this whole fight scene, I mean, it must have been very nerve-wracking for you, but you've had how many professional fights have you had in total?
Um, I probably about 30 and then like
30.
15 amateurs.
Yeah, and two-time world champion, that's right?
Yes. So I won an amateur world championship and then I won a professional world championship.
That's amazing. Yeah. And how did you come to Australia? How did that sort of eventuate?
So I met my husband in Las Vegas at Master Toddy's camp. He was coming over to work in the gym and I wasn't there at the time. And he was like, who's that girl on the wall? And they're like, that's Angie. And then, we both fought in a show 3 weeks after I got there. And like by the first week, we were inseparable and we were just hanging out every day and then training. And we had the goal to win our fights and there was bonuses. So like if you won by knockout, like a leg kick, or you won by an elbow, or you cut the guy, you got like $500. And we were both trying to be really impressive for money and for each other. And we both won our fights. And yeah, we celebrated that night.
Wow. And obviously for people that don't know, you're married to Australian World Muay Thai Champion John Wayne Parr. And
Yeah.
you've run a successful gym on the Gold Coast for over 20 something years.
Yes.
And what a remarkable achievement, and such an amazing family, because not only do
Thank
you
you.
train, but your kids train as well. I watch your son Jesse James Parr just accelerate through the BJJ scene, and Jasmine, she's doing some amazing things with her Muay Thai and boxing. What an
Yes.
incredible and remarkable family.
Oh, thank
And
you. Like we love it.
yeah. Yeah, and you just immersed yourself, and I mean, how have you kept a successful gym, especially with COVID and everything that's happened in the last, few years? How have you managed to keep the gym afloat? Because we were sort of living in unprecedented times, and we never thought that we would ever see lockdowns and, for closing businesses. But what was the key to keep the gym thriving?
Being persistent, having a goal, wanting to make things happen. And we knew the COVID thing was going to lift. We knew what we wanted to do. And actually 2020 is a special year for me because COVID happened and I put mats into the gym. I finally convinced Wayne to take out the carpets because Muay Thai gyms, you don't need mats. So I
Yeah.
said, please, Wayne, let me buy some mats. We can do jujitsu twice a week at the gym. I said, it's going to be fantastic. And honestly, it like blew up. It made my business so much more successful. One, I didn't have to travel anywhere to do jujitsu. We had the clean mats to train on and like safe, like to do break falls and stuff like that. So, COVID was a good thing for us. We closed, we ripped up the carpets, we put in the mats, and then I have some of the best students after 2020.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So it was a
And
blessing in disguise for us.
yeah, and could you share possibly a pivotal moment, especially in your journey throughout your whole entire career, that has shaped you into the person that you are today? Can you think of something that's really been that core, um, you know, lesson that you've just sort of catapulted you throughout your whole
Yeah.
career?
Look, we're just so driven. We have such a focus. Like John Wayne wanted to be the best, Aussie fighter that there could be. I mean, there's a few other guys that, are up there, but John Wayne has been so successful. He owns his own gym, he owns his own house, like he owns his own cars and motorbike and stuff like that because he's worked so hard in his craft and mastered it. Like for me, jujitsu was always more a therapeutic thing that I did because I stopped fighting because all I did was
Yeah,
take care of my kids. And once I was able to get my son off of playing games and doing a martial art, for me, that was satisfying. So, like, I was like, this is good. This is good for the family. This is good for the sport. And we started jujitsu, and then I was like, hey, this could turn into something else. And now we're doing MMA, and it just evolved.
yeah. And how do you balance, the demands of obviously running a successful gym, but also, raising children? How do you balance that?
Well, we eat, sleep, train, and like my son, he was missing school because he would do a comp and he was tired the next day, and he would have a big comp coming up, and I was like, you know what, take the day off. Then he had like surgeries, like emergency appendix, and we would travel to New Zealand, we traveled to America, and he was missing so much school. I was like, hey, let's homeschool so we can do our schoolwork and we can train. So we balanced that out that way. At the moment, Gemma is fine with going to school and
Yeah,
training. It's not that she needs to miss school to do different activities because at grade 3 it's not a big deal. But with him, we definitely homeschooled to make every our life easier.
yeah, yeah. And how has it all sort of been, after COVID, and then now you're teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well.
Yeah.
You're getting more fighters in the gym, and the gym is just thriving better than ever. Um, and what sort of important lessons and milestones can you share throughout that whole experience?
I mean, some of the kids, like they all go to school and then they come in and train, but it's just bringing in a community of kids to just make sure you keep training and keep having goals in mind. And like, I don't focus so much on older people as much as competitors. I'm more focused on the teens, and the older people are still there because they're part of the
Yeah,
club. Like we all work together, but I just focus more. I don't know. I feel like it's just a special moment right now where Jesse's a teenager and all these teens are coming and we all have the same goals and doing, the BJJ comps, the Muay Thai comps, the MMA comps, and it just all intertwines and we just work together and it just works out.
yeah. And like, has martial arts not only just helped you and business, but I'm sure it's helped you throughout life. I can honestly say martial arts is, the backbone for everything that I do. It's just been such a huge tool for me. I've been doing martial arts for over 30 years, but how has martial arts personally helped you, Angie?
Well, I get closer with my family. So Jesse went to America in March to compete, and we got to see my mom and my dad. Well, Jesse got to go to America in May and June to compete, so he gets to see my mom and dad. So it's more family time. Like we travel to the Sunshine Coast for a competition. We get to see Wayne's grandmother, who's like 93 years old, and a
She's
lot of times
93.
she's thriving. She's so fit and
Wow.
healthy. And I'm like, what is the secret? But
Yeah.
she's just amazing. And we just went to the Sunshine Coast and visited her. And I think like with martial arts, it brings my family closer instead of pushes them apart. And I know a lot of times when Wayne was a fighter, you know, he would be so focused in the fights because I've been with him for 100 fights.
Yeah,
And
it's
like
amazing.
sometimes it was so tunnel vision and
Yeah.
focused, like I felt like I was left out, but really he was trying to be successful for our family. And I
Yeah.
just realized, hey, it's a fight. It's fight time. You know, you got to focus and, you know, you'll be with me after the fight. But right now, all you have to do is eat, sleep, and train.
Yeah. How was that whole experience? I mean, because your husband obviously, 100 plus professional fights, a remarkable individual. And, I'm sure you would have experienced the whole anxiety and preparation before a fight. And,
Yeah.
how do you cope with that, especially being that support system for him? Because he must be, incredibly nervous. If he's got a world title fight happening, how do you sort of, how do you help with that?
Well, when you have 150 fights, you're not nervous. It's like Christmas Day. It's like, yay, I finally get to open the presents. So he trains so hard that he's not nervous on the day. The only thing is, for me, I'm just like nervous the last few fights because it's like, oh, this is his last one. This is his last one. And he's just kept going. But honestly, it's just the pressure of it being the final ones that
Yeah.
kind of like made it worse. But throughout the career, I was nervous, but I just like enjoyed the ride.
Yeah. It's just basically a part of life. It's just like,
It's like Jazzy. So Jazzy
yeah.
just fought in she fought in I think she was in Sydney. So I'm just like have a brain fart. Yes, she was
Yeah.
in Sydney. And she she was so fit and confident. And I was so nervous. And then I was like, why am I nervous? She's ready. She's
Yeah.
confident. She's hitting hard. Like, I was like, that's my baby. That's my girl. And I honestly was just cheering her every time she landed. And then after the fourth round, she was going out to the fifth. And I was like, this is the round. You're going to knock her out. And she's like, yep, mom, I'm gonna. And she did.
That's amazing.
So if you train hard, you have the mindset to be a champion. If you
Yeah.
slack in some training areas, you're gonna lack in the mind.
Yeah. And the whole family obviously have just immersed themselves into martial arts. And, there's so many benefits of training in any sort of combat sport. But me personally, I think some of the nicest and friendliest people I've ever
Yeah.
met in martial arts. And, how have your children sort of managed through schooling and just being better people? I mean, you would see that throughout, their whole journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jesse never had a street fight. Jasmine never had a street fight. Gemma is very well behaved. A few times, like I said to Jesse, so what would happen if someone picked a fight with you? He's like, nobody does. They all know that I do martial arts. Like, no,
Yeah.
everybody's my friend. So it's been pretty good.
Yeah. And you wouldn't have to worry about that. You wouldn't have to worry about the kids being bullied and things like that.
Look, I try not to, but the only thing is, like, if you go out and party, you know, things get, you know, alcohol and drugs can
Yeah.
change things. So that's the only time I worry.
Yes. Yeah. And
Not
throughout your,
not always my kids, but other people on alcohol and drugs, you know? So
100%.
sometimes it's like I worry if, you know, my kids do bad things, but I just really pray that they, you know, they're smart and they realize that, you know, they have to do the right thing.
And I think, who better than both yourself and John Wayne Parr, just fantastic role models. And, what a blessing, for the children to grow up in that environment and just the tools and, the capability of one being able to handle themselves if they had to, but then also just having that reassurance and confidence, but also to be able to help other people as well.
Yeah,
And
for
do,
sure.
and do you find joy in teaching?
Oh, so at the moment, I don't teach classes anymore because I've been doing the same exercises for like 7 years, and
Yep.
I just find the stretches and the shadow boxing a little bit monotonous. So like John Wayne, he still teaches, which is great because that's his work. But it's not work to him because he stretches with the class and he loves it. I don't know, but mine does my head in. I also do admin for the gym. I do fighter management. I do cleaning and I cook and clean at home. So I just feel like I put so much effort into everything else that I do that I am passionate about. I don't have to teach classes anymore. So I handed them all over to Jasmine and she teaches the morning classes. And I have a couple young fighters that they'll fill in here and there and they'll do a couple days. And
Yeah.
it's such a good trade off. And like when Jasmine comes home tired from training, I'm like, I've made you this meal. And she just loves it.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she just had a fight recently. Is that right?
Yeah. She fought back, oh my gosh, March, April. She fought in April.
April. Was this boxing or Muay Thai?
It was boxing. So Jasmine isn't doing Muay Thai anymore. She's strictly boxing. Her goal is to go all the way. I mean, there's a lot of great fighters out there that she wants to, you know, follow and be a part of. So she's just fully concentrating on boxing. And I think
Yeah.
that's a good idea because when you swap and change in Muay Thai and boxing, you kind of get a little bit confused and you're not, working on that specific martial art or art
Yeah.
and you kind of lose a little bit. It's just like, like Jesse's been so immersed into jujitsu. If he does Muay Thai, it kind of takes away from his gi and his jujitsu. So
Yeah.
you kind of just focus on one thing, and it's so much easier for Jasmine.
Yeah. Yeah. Did she ever sort of accidentally think about throwing a leg kick? Is
No,
there the
but if they get close, she can clinch and turn them.
Oh, really? So there you
Yeah.
go. The Muay Thai does sort of help a little bit in that
Well,
sense.
I actually think the jujitsu helped her because a girl like somehow tried to pull Jazzy and had her arm trapped, and Jazzy flipped over and did a cartwheel and got out of it.
It's like a Hickson Gracie. I think he
It
did
was
that in
crazy.
Pride. Yeah.
And like Jazzy is also a really good like jujitsu girl, but she stopped doing it to do more Muay Thai. But I got her back in a little bit. So I
In
tell her it's cross training. You're not doing it to be a good like jujitsu specialist. You do it just for like extra body mechanics and function.
Yeah. And you dabble in jujitsu as well, Angie. You're a blue belt in BJJ. How
Yeah.
how do you find jujitsu?
Look, I dabble. I wish I was amazing like I was Muay Thai, but I feel like I started later in my life that it takes me longer to get things and it's slowly evolving, but it's okay. I'm here for the long run, not like a not a short time.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, I'm more
Yeah.
here for the marathon.
Do you enjoy gi or no gi more?
I prefer gi, but we started doing. I started doing no gi on Fridays, and honestly, it's the same for me. I use a clinch, like I can do double legs, single legs, and I just I like the body mechanics. I feel like it's animal movement because my cats
Yeah.
like fight all the time, and I just feel like I do some of that. It's not pretty, but I do my best.
Yeah. And do you miss the competition side of things? Do you miss competing?
I don't know, because like my kids all compete and it drives me crazy because I feel so nervous because I'm not in control. They're in
Yeah.
control. And like they're only gonna feel as good as they train. And like Jasmine, that last fight, she trained so well. Her mindset was good. She was so confident. I wasn't nervous. But like with my little one today, I was so nervous when she fought MMA. And I knew she was good, but I knew the other girl was more experienced, a little bit more mature, and I just knew that like my daughter still has things that she needs to fix in her game, and
Yeah.
and that's okay because like honestly, she's 10 years old.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose, you're gonna win, you're gonna draw, and you just gotta keep going.
How did she go today?
So she had two wins and she had two losses.
Yeah.
And some of the things we were working on, she did, and it worked. And then the things on the ground, I feel like her jujitsu is probably lacking a little bit. But I think one day she's going to figure it out because when she started jujitsu, she was on her back for a whole year. Everybody was on top of her. Everybody was on top of her. And then she finally learned how to play guard.
Yeah.
And she still knows how to play guard, but she needs to play guard with somebody very aggressive.
Yeah.
And you know, in MMA it's so different. They're sitting on
It,
top of you, they're mounting
yeah.
you. You know, you're already exhausted from kicking and punching. So as long I just told her, I said, hey, we need to start running and you need to work on your jujitsu.
Yeah. And what was the preparation like for Jazzy leading up into her fight? How long is literally a fight camp? Is it like three months, 4 months,
10 weeks. 10
10
weeks.
weeks?
So
Yep.
one of the things that she really has to focus on is diet because
Yeah.
she can be a little bit heavier than her fight weight. Not that like that's a struggle. It's just like, hey, I got to eat clean. She loves food.
Does she
Um,
have a nutritionist or something like that?
she doesn't have a nutritionist, but she knows what to do. Like we've done it so many fight camps. Like John Wayne, he was here and I cook for him and like salmon, fish, veggies, but you have to make it interesting. And like she knew exactly what to eat. You know, when you eat bread, morning, lunch, and dinner, you're gonna put on weight. So just sacrificing all the, you know, yummy carbs and I mean she can still eat carbs, but yeah, we had to work on that. And then her training, she does weights, she does boxing, she does a lot of footwork, a lot of shadow boxing. The running is key, and also the assault bike.
Yeah. Does she do like high intensity interval training, stuff like that?
Not as much. A lot of it's a little bit of groundwork at the end of training. So, you know,
Yeah.
doing like the medicine ball stuff and doing your body and like push-ups and stuff like that. Um, not as much, but I think the skipping rope and, you know, using the salt bike is going to be a
Yeah.
little bit that's going to help her.
Yeah. And especially for yourself too, Angie. I mean, leading up into a world title fight, what was your preparation like?
Look, back in the day, we ran. So I would get up before John Wayne would run because we had a little baby, Jasmine, and he would watch her. I would run at 5:30, and I would do like 50 minutes, and I would just run at a good pace and get that road work in, and then he would take over. And in the gym, that's when we do our like Muay Thai training. So we would skip rope, shadow boxing, hit the bag, do our pad work, do our drills and like sit ups and push ups at the end of the training. So it was very basic, but like sometimes, you know, you would work the clinch more. Sometimes you would work your boxing. And I sparred girls and like my eye be like sticking out and black eyes and stuff like that. So when we boxing sparred, it was very hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you fight you fight orthodox, yeah?
Yes, but I can fight southpaw as well.
Southpaw as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so I would
like
mix it up.
you mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
boxing I would mix it up more, but as a Muay Thai fighter, I could fight left or right. But I would probably
Yeah.
stick with right a lot more.
Yeah. And what was it like? I mean, because your husband obviously is successful in Muay Thai as well. I mean, just such a back burner and support and role model for you. I mean, I'm sure, he would be there for you every step of the way. I mean, having that, support, that would have been just such a fantastic experience. How has he helped you throughout your whole journey too?
Um, Honestly, I did a lot of it on my own. Only when he had a break, he would hold pads for me. And whenever he held pads for me, I felt my technique was so much sharper and I knew my attacks were more precise. And
Yeah.
like I always fought a lot better when he held pads for me. He was such a good trainer. But honestly, like a lot of times I had to, you know, cook my own food, you know, take care of the kids, go for my runs before he did. And like there was no I knew how to train before I met him.
Yeah.
I had 15 fights before I met I had 30 fights before I met him. And
Yeah.
so I knew what to do, so I had to push myself and if he was available, he would help me and always he was in my corner and that was the best. That
Yeah.
that's where I needed him. I needed him to pump me up when I was feeling tired. I needed him to encourage me when I needed encouragement. And he would always pick how to win. Like, you know, I needed to punch more. I needed to clinch more. He would always tell me how to win.
Yeah, and for those that don't know Muay Thai, so Muay Thai is the art of 8 limbs. So there's elbows and knees, but it's different from kickboxing. But can you sort of elaborate on the difference between kickboxing and Muay Thai, just for the people that don't understand what it is.
All right. So if you're doing a kickboxing fight, you're going to do punches and kicks. Like some old kickboxing fights, you had to have I think it was a 9 kick per round. You had to. I feel like it was 9, but I can't remember now because it was so far back. With the Muay Thai, we do the clinch, we do the knees, and you can take them down. Now, when I fought in a kickboxing community and a boxing predominant community, I was taking the girl down. They were booing me. And
Really?
John Wayne taught me the clinch, and I was doing it and I was getting booed, and I was like, no, I'm doing the right thing. So, you know, um, controlling the fighter and like taking them down and them having to get back up zaps their energy. So, Muay Thai is very technical. And
Yeah.
if you're landing more knees, you're winning the fight. But they've changed the rules now after 20 years. They're saying each shot counts. So if I punch, kick, teep, it's equal to knees through the
Yeah.
round. So they all score the same. But back in my day, knees were very high scoring. So, I used it to my advantage sometimes, and sometimes I just stand on the outside and use my teep and use my jab.
Yeah. And what's the grading like in Muay Thai? So how do judges grade?
Like, how do they score?
Yeah, how do they score?
So you can have a judge scoring who throws more. You can have a judge scoring who's throwing the harder shots.
Yeah,
So it
right.
depends on the judges.
Yeah. And what about so with
And
obviously
aggression, like somebody could have a fighter winning being aggressive, but you could be on the back
really?
foot and landing jabs and landing teeps, and they score against you.
Yeah,
It's
interesting.
it's it's very difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine.
There's
And what
no
about
precise scoring.
yes, yeah. And Thailand obviously is where it originated. And it's a different atmosphere over there. I've been to Thailand and it's amazing. It's an amazing place, but it's their national sport. What's the atmosphere like compared to, in other places of the world? Because it's pretty remarkable. They train 7 days a week, don't they? And they are really, really just driven, and it's just a different atmosphere. Have you been to Thailand and fought in Thailand yourself?
Yeah, so I fought in Thailand in 2001 in the national games, and like everyone, they cheer and they know how to support the fighters. So I had my Thai trainers in the corner, and it was amazing. But like when John Wayne fought in Thailand and it was the S1, every time they kick, the crowd just erupts, and the
Yeah,
cheering is amazing, and the knees are so high scoring, so they just know how to cheer the crowd. So it
yeah.
kind of makes it easier for the judges, really. Whoever's throwing more is winning.
And can you think of some memorable moments that you've had throughout your journey? So some highlights, some knockouts.
Yeah, so I fought a girl in Las Vegas, and we fought at the Mirage Casino, and I think they're tearing it down now, or they already teared it down. And I was fighting on the K1 undercard, and this girl was hitting me with crazy shit. She was like backhanding me, spin kicking me in the body, and I was just like persistent Thai boxing kicking her. And then I just knew how to like punch as well, so I just like punched right hand, dropped the girl. She just like was out and fell on her feet, and the referee like picks her up and he's like, do you know where you're at? And she's like, Mirage at the casino. And
Yeah,
I ended up winning by points, but it was the best feeling in the world. If I could like bottle it up and sell it, I'd be a millionaire.
yeah, right. And have you dabbled in other martial arts? I mean, I started initially with Taekwondo, and I think Taekwondo, especially utilized in Muay Thai or even MMA, I think it's incredibly effective. Did you dabble in other martial arts as well?
Um, so I tried boxing, amateur boxing in America, and it was so fast paced and like weird. So you have to hit at the same time and they click, and like and it was just crazy. Like the girl was just like pa 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 pa. I was like, you barely touched me, but it was just very fast paced. So I lost that one. I was like, I don't want to do boxing. And then I ended up doing Muay Thai and then I did MMA. And I honestly did not like jujitsu at the time. I
Yeah.
just was not into it. And I actually needed it to do
Yeah.
MMA. I just wanted to bang with the little gloves. And I ended up getting stopped by submissions. But on my feet, I felt great. So my last fight was in the little gloves in CMT. And I went out with a win.
And that CMT is cage Muay Thai, yeah?
Yeah, so we put the 4 ounce gloves and we fought only striking on our feet for 3 rounds. I didn't fight for a title, so it was only 3 rounds, and I won my fight.
That's amazing. Yeah.
It's good.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
And MMA is obviously it's another kettle of fish. How did
Yeah.
you find your first fight in MMA? You know, it must have been just a huge awakening for you, especially the ground game.
Well, the first round I won and I dropped the girl and I was so afraid to get on top of her that I was like, get up. And then she got up and she finished the round and the next round she's like, I'm taking you down. And as soon as she took me down, I lost. So
Yeah,
unfortunately, there's no little clause that says we want to only stand up for MMA. So
yeah.
I lost that. But now I really love jujitsu. I wish I loved it, 10 years ago. But unfortunately, I missed my ticket. So I'm just helping my kids work on their striking, their jujitsu. I'm getting a wrestling coach to come from USA. Like
Wow.
every little piece I can put in that puzzle, I'm helping my kids develop their skills.
I love that. It's interesting. There was a 70-something-year-old that got awarded a BJJ black belt. So
Oh,
I think, yeah, I think you can do jujitsu at any age,
yeah,
and
for sure.
I think obviously just starting is obviously the most important step, and
100%.
yeah, yeah, but it's one of those arts where because I came from a striking background before I did grappling arts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then when my first introduction to BJJ, I mean, I got my ass handed to me by a girl. She fucked me up, Angie. She just ragdolled the shit out of me.
Oh, my goodness.
But I think it's one of those arts where you can do it for a long time, and especially with striking arts,
Yeah.
so unfortunately, we do get older, and the body sort of breaks down a little bit, and I've had knee surgeries, and I'm sure you would have incurred many
I had
injuries
two
throughout
last
your.
year.
Really, what did you do to yours?
So one of my girls was doing a judo takedown, trapped my knee and tore my ACL, my meniscus. Gemma
Oh
Gemma was
shit!
Yeah, Gemma was really small and she was drowning and I had to jump in the pool and save her and I tore my knee on impact. So my right knee is so tore up. They're like, you need a knee replacement. And so MMA and jujitsu is not my friend, but I still do it because it's my therapy.
Yeah, was it complete rupture of the ACL?
Um, Pretty much I have to get it replay like what do they do? Rebuild. So
Yeah, it's a
but I
reconstruction.
haven't decided on that because, I'm going to be out for 8 months and I'm still holding pads for my kids. And I feel like it's not worth it at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, some people can function okay without
I'm
needing
still mobile.
surgery.
I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
run, skip rope. And I mean, those are the two things I don't get to do.
Do you lift weights? Do you do any strength and conditioning exercises for
So,
it?
so I tried to do weights and I was doing this program and tore my hip
You tore
with,
your hip.
with goblet squats.
Oh
I have
no.
and I got misdiagnosed for osteoarthritis. And then I
Oh
went back to
wow.
my knee surgeon because he's like, I want to look at your hip. And he's like, you got misdiagnosed. It's a labral tear.
Wow.
So I see him next week and I'm going to see what he wants to do.
See
If
what
he
you
wants,
can do. Yeah. What about stem
I,
cells? Have you done much reading into stem cells and things like
look, it's a
that?
lot of money. I'm constantly putting back into my kids' jujitsu and their
Yeah. Yeah.
these trips. And I just like, I'm able to keep moving.
Yeah, exactly. And you
It's
must get,
not it's
sorry,
not
you
stopping
go.
me. It's not stopping me from doing anything. It's just that like I can't train like a professional fighter anymore. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah. And Jesse's doing incredibly well with his BJJ. I've just watched him burst onto the grappling scene. He's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu now because he's 16, yeah?
Yeah. So Jesse's doing good, but there are a lot better BJJ players out there. So he honestly just has to keep building and,
Yeah.
keep like learning from his mistakes. And then, hopefully he'll be one of the best in the world.
He's on his way. It's pretty incredible. I mean, he's just won pretty much everything in Australia, hasn't he?
Sorry, I had a cold a couple weeks ago and now I have like,
You okay?
now I can hear Gemma coughing. She's copying me. Um, yeah, I'm okay now. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, what was your question?
So Jesse, yeah, he's done incredibly well on the jiu-jitsu scene. And so he's pretty much won pretty much everything in Australia. So is he looking to sort of maybe take it internationally and sort of compete a little bit more over there?
Yeah, so he's competed twice in USA, and honestly, they're like, just keep bringing him back and stay longer and keep competing on the higher level, and that will make him get those wins. But at the moment, there's so many talented people in Australia. I think,
Yeah.
I think we're in a really good place, and he's doing pretty well.
The competition now is just pretty remarkable. Like the up and coming athletes, it's pretty insane. And yeah, I mean, he's incredible. Like I've watched Jesse, compete. But yeah, I mean, there's just the level of talent is pretty amazing. Hey,
Yeah, honestly, like, so you're like, hey, my son is so good. He's like athletic, he's got genetics, he's got, all the skills. And then you have this weapon come out and he'll leg lock your son. And you're like, where do these kids come from? Because,
yeah,
a lot of kids started when they were 6 years old. Jesse
yeah.
only started jujitsu at 11.
He's
So
done 11. Wow.
yeah, so he's still, accumulating skills and
Yeah,
so he's still learning.
yeah, exactly.
You almost have
And
to have that white belt mentality your whole life
you
because
do.
you think you're on top, somebody's there, right there to beat you every time.
You never stop learning. You really do. And I think it's just such an important thing to always continue to seek knowledge, because you never stop being a student. I had the privilege of chatting with Richard Norton. He came on my podcast,
Nice.
and he said to me a long time ago, never stop being a student. And that
I
really
agree
did
with
make an impression on me, just to always learn and always evolve, always grow. And yeah, there's always going to be someone better than you, and you might be number one, but you're not going to be number one forever.
that. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a matter of time. And how have you held yourself with setbacks? How have you sort of overcome hardship and adversity throughout your own journey, Angie?
Well, of course you're going to lose sometimes, but you just keep coming back and you train harder and you fix your mistakes. And um, I just don't let anything stop myself. Like if I'm not winning or if I lose a coach or if I the kids have some losses or I just keep chipping away. And I honestly feel like the more I put in, the more I get out. So I just put in so much effort for my team and my kids and I feel like, hey, I might not be winning every single thing right now, but there's going to be times that we're on top and I'm just going to keep going until we get there.
Yeah, and as a retired champion too, Angie, do you continue to challenge yourself mentally and physically? I mean, because you're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you obviously still have that warrior mindset.
Yes, definitely. You always have to challenge yourself. You always have to find someone who knows a little bit more and take some of their knowledge and like everything I do I put so much effort into. I just keep trying and like some things I'm not good at and I just review it and try to learn it and adapt and get better.
Yeah, and what are
Even in,
some of the
even in business skills.
yeah,
Okay, say I made a mistake here. I made a mistake with a member. I was too strict or I was too set on my rules. I can be a little bit more flexible. I can change, be a little bit more kind. And, I change all the time, to adapt to my surroundings. And I feel like, um, I'm also trying to, make myself better and, lift myself up.
I love that. And I think that's amazing. And it's great that you just shared that because I really think that some of the lessons that martial arts instills in us very much transfer over into life, whether it be business relationships and overcoming setbacks and adversity. And, what are some of the lessons that you've instilled on, with raising your children, because they too have that warrior mindset?
Well, I tell my kids, I was like, you have to have that warrior spirit. Like, this is what you were born in to do. And you can't let other people down. People are depending on you. So, therefore, you have to go out and do it and be there and be present and put effort. And that's what I make my kids do.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. And so John Wayne Parr, is he retired now, or is there potential for him to have one more fight? I
Everybody
know.
asks me this question.
Yeah,
So, yes, he is retired. Yes, he gets fight offers all the time. Sometimes he says yes, and we're still waiting for some answers. So, that
yeah,
answer to that question is the unknown. We are not
yeah,
sure. I mean, he's done a few interviews. I don't watch them all, only because I hear him talk all the time. And like, he tells me stories, and I'm like, okay, well, let's see if it happens. And he still has goals. He still
yeah,
has passion. And as long as he has that and he has the ability to train hard, I support him.
yeah,
I have to support every one of my family members because I would expect the same for me. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
just keep
It,
supporting
it's
each other.
It's hard, isn't it? The hard part about retirement, especially doing something you've immersed yourself in it for so long, it's incredibly difficult to step away from something,
So,
that has been your whole life.
yes.
How did you find that, with your journey in retiring and
Well, I had kids, and my
yeah,
passion for my kids and taking care of them was way bigger than the $2,000 I was getting for a fight. Wayne
yeah,
was way more money than me, and it was providing for my family. So therefore, he had a fight. For me, it wasn't. It was more of a look. I love fighting, but it was a chore. It was hard work, and for me to travel to Jamaica and fight for a world title and have the pressure of you know taking care of my kids and still trying to compete at a late time of the night was too much. And I just didn't enjoy it. And I just wanted to enjoy my kids. So I
yeah,
stopped fighting.
yeah, okay. And so with regards to your initial sort of gym, how you sort of, the makeup and obviously what it takes to actually run a successful gym, I must be incredibly difficult. But would be some advice that you could give to people or aspiring martial artists on how to run a successful gym? Because you've been doing this for so long.
You're going to have rules and you're going to have boundaries, but you're also going to have to be kind. So just try to do your best in making things fair, but also fair to yourself. Don't let people take advantage of you when you're trying to run a business and you're, providing a service, and you got to have value for yourself as well as the business, but you also have to take care of your clients. So do your best.
Yeah, exactly. And do you conduct private lessons yourself? Do you do?
So that's one of my things that I don't have passion for anymore.
Yeah,
I love training people and holding pads for my fighters. I love my friends and I love holding pads for them. But taking on a new client and building that bond, building that friendship is very draining to me.
yeah,
And like, there's so many things I have to do every day. Like, I have to, prep kids' meals. I have to clean the gym. I have to clean my house. I have to check my administration. I just don't have that extra hour to
yeah,
train a new client and take them on. So I just try to nurture the new clients that come in and say, do the classes because this is where you're going to get the skill set. And then if you want to take it to the next level, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be pushing you. I'm going to be cheering you on, and I can take you to that next level. But they
Yeah.
have to do the work. They have to do the classes. They have to do the beginner stuff. You have to earn your stripes. You can't
Yep.
just go from, A to Z straight away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely 100%. And so, like with perspective of competition and, especially stepping away from professional fighting and then also with your kids now, I mean, there's a lot of lessons that you've learned along the way that you can sort of instill on your children.
Yeah.
But, how has your children sort of, learnt from setbacks and failures and, because these are obviously lessons that we learn through fighting. And I think putting children into combat sports is one of the best things that a parent can do because my mum enrolled me into martial arts at the age of 6. And, it's just such a profound effect on everything that I ever do. And, what are some of the things that you think that have really sort of helped your kids, not just confidence wise, but also just being better friends, better in their community? What else do you think?
Like my kids are going to have so many tournaments. You're going to lose some, you're going to win some. I always say, be humble. You have to be a good sportsman. I know you want to cry because you're so passionate about winning. It's not the end of the world. You're going to have many matches. This is all like lessons and tests that you're going to have when you're a professional. And they're not even going to peak until they're like Jasmine's age. Jasmine's 21. That's when I peaked. She's peaking right now. She can do a lot of things in the sport at the moment, but she still has stepping stones, and she look. It could be the highest point of her career, or I mean, she can still have a career like John Wayne. Wayne was 27, and his Thai sponsor was telling him, "You old, you need to retire now." And he was 27. He kept fighting till he was like 43 or 44.
Yeah, it's
Like
amazing.
like so long, and you think your clock is done, but it's not. Great advice that I got from a professional fighter was Ray Sefu. He said, don't retire, just have a break, because you
Yeah,
never know when you're going to come back.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. And so, what do you think? What do you think? What would you like to see in the future with the way martial arts is going? Because I see it very much as now clubs are sort of integrating not just Muay Thai, but they're integrating grappling and things like that. Where do you see martial arts going in the next, say, 10, 15 years?
Well, I hope it keeps going the way it is, but it's just harder for our athletes to be the top 5% in the world. There's so many amazing fighters out there, and
Yeah,
you just like Australia is on the map. They are doing
yeah,
they're doing so well, but you got people like in Russia that are fighting every weekend on a mat. You got kids in China that have a fully equipped gym that has probably their heart rate monitor, and a dietitian, and a full facility where they can do cardio, grappling. They're gonna have everything. So you just got to keep getting that experience and keep pushing hard, because there's going to be a lot of people out there that want the same thing that you do.
yeah, exactly.
Persistence. You need to be persistent.
You do. And Gemma, is she sort of eager to jump in and do more competition? Is she?
Yeah, so I said, Gemma, today was pretty stressful. Is it okay if you stop fighting? She's like, I'm going to do it again. Like, she knew she was going to be a fighter. And
Yeah,
um, I'm happy for her to compete, but as long as she trains hard. She's like, well, I thought it was going to be easier than what it was. I was like, yeah, Gemma, you need to start running. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna start running. I'm gonna spar more. And so she knows that she's got to put in the work.
yeah. And have you got some fighters at the moment that are sort of in preparation for various events?
Yeah. We have a kid that just went to the Worlds for amateurs and he got smoked by a Russian. So
Oh,
there
wow.
are kids out there that are fighting world championships. I said, hey, it's not your time right now. Like for girls, it's a lot easier to become a world champion at a younger age. I said, give it 3 more years. Like you have to keep going on this journey. Um, I have Jasmine, a professional boxer. We have some heavyweights that are really good. We have kids all levels. And yeah, the world's their oyster. They just got to keep going and not lose focus, not focus too much on other things and keep fighting.
Is this for Muay Thai or is it
Muay Thai,
MMA?
both, everything. So I
Yeah.
have about 5 kids that have great potential. They're all Jesse's age. They're fighting Muay Thai, Jiu Jitsu, MMA, and I said to them, "Look, it's not a 2 year plan; it's a 10 year plan. So if you want to be really good, you have to stick with me, and we have to take every opportunity that we got, and then like." In 2 more years, Jesse will be 18. Maybe you guys are going to all headline on a show together, all 5 of you. Imagine that. Like,
That'd be
let,
pretty
let,
amazing.
let's have goals. And I tell them that because they need to have it in the back of their head. If I don't tell them what they're going to be working towards, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. I need them to stay focused.
Yeah. And is Jasmine looking to compete in MMA down the track?
No, she's done. She wants to make the $1 million in boxing. She's fully focused on her boxing career for financial reasons.
Fair enough. And what about Jesse? Is he eager to maybe jump into the cage?
He wants MMA. He's like, oh, I
Yeah.
can't wait till I fight MMA. And so he's 16. He's got 2 more years till I'll let him do full MMA matches, and we'll
Yeah.
see how he goes. His
Because
striking is very good, though. We
yeah.
don't focus on his striking in videos, but he hits me so hard. I hate holding pads for him. Yeah.
Does he hit hard, really, really hard?
He hits insanely hard, and I let him
Wow.
tackle me because I love the takedown part of jujitsu, and like he tackles me so hard, and he does not have mercy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you competed in jiu-jitsu, Angie?
So I've been really I haven't really wanted to do it because of my knees. So I started jujitsu with a torn meniscus. Then my fighter tore the other ACL and meniscus.
Oh,
And I've just been like, I'm like terrible. And I got surgery last year, so I'm able to be more mobile. And I don't know. This could be my year. I try it. I'm not sure.
yeah. We'll see how you go. So you're just going to wait it out to see how the knee is, and then
Well, both knees are fine, but like eventually I'm gonna need a knee replacement in my right knee. Um, I'm gonna see my surgeon next week about my ACL. But look, if I can get super fit with 2 bad knees, I'd love to jump in.
100%. I think it's great. I think it's awesome, especially, that you're doing jujitsu because, you come from a striking background, but I think it's great. You've got the stand up now, you've got the ground game too.
Yeah.
I think it's excellent. It's really,
I
really good.
wish I was 20 years old and I'd do more wrestling, because I really like that part of it.
Yeah. Have you watched some of the up and coming female contenders, especially into the Australian MMA scene? We've got some talent. We really do.
Yeah, I really love Jacinta Austin. I think she's amazing. Like she's such a good striker. And like she really was trying to get like a rear naked choke. And you could see her. She was like chasing it, chasing it. She was like a dog with a bone. And that at one moment of her fight, she had to transition to an armbar, but the time ran out. But honestly, I love her tunnel vision. You can see it,
Yeah.
and I met her, and I went and tried to bring Jazzy to spar her, but Jazzy ended up tearing her knuckles. So we just went up for the weekend, and Wayne did a seminar at their gym, and yeah, I really love her. And there's a lot of talented girls out there, and it's just going to get better and better. I believe. I
Yeah,
think I
it's
think it's
amazing.
such a great sport that's evolving constantly.
Yeah, that it's pretty remarkable. I mean, the talent in just such a short amount of time. And yeah, I think I just see it's just going to get better and better. Like I was watching a video of two 3-year-olds MMA
Oh my
sparring. It
goodness.
was on YouTube, I think, and I just couldn't like they're doing acrobatic stuff and
Yeah,
doing flying arm bars and flying
yeah.
triangles and all sorts of like dexterous,
No,
skillful
they're so
moves.
good. Kids are
Yeah,
so good and kids are amazing. You just got to teach them. Like they're
yeah,
just little sponges, and that's what's great about my kids. They just, they're constantly learning.
yeah. And who's been some role models in your life?
Um, So in the beginning, Master Toddy, I loved him. He was so positive and he was such a great trainer. And then, um, John Wayne has been a role model in my life because he was just such a badass. And
Yeah,
then I started jujitsu at 40. So my professor, Daniel Almeida, he's really amazing and he's still competing. He's younger than me, um, uh, like by a couple years, but he's like, I just feel like we've both done so much in the sport and we just still keep at it and now he's competing more and I think that's fantastic and that's just inspiring for me, just having somebody around my age that who is still competing, and I just see these people doing the masters and I was like, that's so cool. I just feel like I'm far behind, but I know I can just reach out and grab it anytime I want to. I'm just very hesitant.
I think you still have a little bit left in you, Angie, to be honest. I really do.
Oh,
I
thank
think
you.
just this little hurdle that you've just got to get over. But I think,
Yeah,
there might be an opportunity to maybe, jump in and do some more competition and jujitsu comps. I think it'll be fun.
maybe. Oh, sorry, my phone's about to die. Hold on one second. I just had to click it. Yeah, maybe it is there. I have a spark. It's very little, but if
Yeah.
I get enough friction, it will make a fire.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%, Angie. Angie, it's been an absolute pleasure sitting down and talking with you. I could
Oh,
talk to
thank you
you
so
for
much.
hours,
Thank you.
and also is Luke Howard still up there? He's still
Yes,
teaching, isn't he?
fantastic. But I always still talk about when you came to the gym and taught the knife fighting, self defense, because I think it was so fun, and I have to have you back.
Well, I actually want to do some street chokes. So Luke actually asked me a long time ago to maybe come down and actually teach a class, but teach the guys how
That's
to
good.
actually use hoodie jumpers and jackets.
Yeah.
So how you can modify the gi to street
Yeah.
self-defense. I think they'd
Sorry,
love
my
it.
phone's about to die. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, I'm so sorry.
yeah, no worries. We'll cut it
Clicking
short
it.
now. Yeah, we'll cut it
Yes,
off
come
now.
back. Come back. We'd
Yeah,
love to have you.
yeah, no worries.
All
Thanks very
right.
much,
Thank
Angie.
you so much.
Yeah, awesome. Bye.
All right. Bye.